Hey everyone, welcome back to the IWP Network, or if it's your first time, welcome hanging out with us. Thank you so much for choosing this podcast, and feedback is always welcome. So make sure to check the links below for all social media links, audio and video versions of this show, and merch. We look forward to hearing from you and hearing that feedback, and enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Patreon episode. We have a new announcement when it comes to Patreon. We were very thank you guys so much for the love and support on Patreon. We had a little bit of a dip in membership, which is fine. It happens. I understand. Times are tough. There's a pandemic going on, and we're not holding a fault to that at all. But it's going to be $1 for a shout out, $5 for a shout out and bonus content. But the bonus content isn't going to stay on Patreon forever. We're going to do it's going to be on Patreon for 2 weeks.
Time.
Yes. So when we say 2 weeks, it's going to be longer than that because we do have a bunch of episodes that are in the backlog.
Right. Well.
Yeah. So I think what we're going to do is when we get to the point where there may be a change coming up in my work schedule where I would be off a certain night. I think what we may do is we would have that show on that show going on a Friday, and then Tornado Tag would go to a Thursday. So Fridays would switch between Truth Behind Illusion and Not Cool in High School. Bang and Beers would still stay every other week, but maybe the Bang and Beers Patreon would fill in the other Sunday, so it still stays every Sunday. So there's 1 week where we're live, 1 week we're not, and then maybe like on a Tuesday or a Wednesday we may slip in a Patreon episode from another week. Yeah. And that just might be the Patreon day. Like, this is Patreon day. We're going to slide in an episode from Bang and Beers number 1, or Not Cool in High School number 1, or Tornado Tag number 1. So if some of this content that you're seeing will come at a later date, if you want to see it earlier, subscribe and you can check that out, and it helps us grow. We do have merchandise for sale as well as all other fun stuff. So we do support. Thank you for the support. But I kind of like we kind of do the old school style. We kind of just riff and not do weekly topics, but we talk about what's current and stuff like that. And the other ones are more topic based. So they will go to the general public, but you'll have first access. So I say 2 weeks is the latest we'll do, but it'll probably be a lot longer because we do have a pretty big backlog of Patreon stuff already recorded.
Right.
Yeah.
Except for like wrestling. You don't want to be like, hey, what did they think about this random Raw 4 months ago?
But even like with the Patreon for this too, is we talk about what's kind of current, but it's still like, I still think you could listen to it and still go back and be like, oh shit, they talked about the Dark Side of the Ring. I might go check it out or something like that.
You put that in.
Yeah.
And I think, and maybe eventually we do watch alongs and things like that. Yeah.
So I was kind of running this by Brian. So the Patreon, you're going to get the first dibs or to hear this. If we do go to every Thursday, where we do the show every Thursday, 1 week will be a topic thing. So like this week will be, hey, we're going to talk about like Tony Schiavone, or how we just did Camp Leapfrog.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next week will be an interview. We interview somebody in the business.
Oh, okay.
Then the following week will be like, we're reviewing this show from IWE TV or this old pay-per-view that's on Peacock. And then the next week will be another interview. So it'll flip between a topic, a show review, and then in between there will be guest interviews where we have somebody on and we talk to them. Because there is a lot of people who want to come on the show that are, what?
Turn me up, I can't. Oh, just a little.
Your headset?
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
There we go.
There is a lot of people who want to be on the show, but only doing it 1 day a month, like 1 or 2 days a month, is really hard to keep up your topics and invite guests on. And we don't want to turn people away because I have a lot of faith in the people who are in the wrestling business who like us and who we like them, and they might not be around forever. They may get a little harder schedule, or they can't really do stuff like this anymore. So we definitely want to capitalize before that's not a thing,
Right? No, totally. Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's I feel like we've been blessed and fortunate enough to be around a very talented people.
Yeah, like I will not be surprised if this time next year Matt Mikowski is in MLW, Ring of Honor, AEW or WWE, NXT. I would not be surprised.
Yeah, agreed. Same with Edith.
Well, Edith hasn't been on the show yet.
Hopefully,
that would be a great guest to have.
We'll try because a lot of respect for her and her ability to just
She has a very busy
throw
schedule.
caution to the wind and
She
just
has
go
a
for
very
it.
busy schedule.
She's getting a documentary soon, which is exciting.
Yes.
On IWTV, they're doing this thing where every kind of like WWE 24, where they do like the documentary on somebody, but they actually give you a camera and you film it yourself.
Oh,
and they edit together,
that's
which is kind of
unique.
cool.
Yeah, they did one with a very good professional wrestler, then with a few other people.
So they're taking it into their homes and really getting that behind the scenes feel, which is kind of cool. And in a pandemic, it's kind of like you're your own cameraman.
But it's also good, like just kind of behind the curtain, that you're giving the wrestler a chance to kind of direct to, so they can choose how much they want to reveal.
Yeah.
Like if a very good professional wrestler doesn't want to reveal his real name or these other things, then that
doesn't have to.
It's at his discretion.
Which is amazing because that's where I suck so bad. Like when I meet somebody, like just an example, like Adina Steele, and you're like, oh, I'm like, don't tell me, because once I hear it, I can't fucking just. I'm gonna stick to your gimmick name forever, like because I'm terrible.
Well, some people want to be called that, and some don't. It's weird.
Yeah,
you know. And then some people might be called you meet them as one gimmick, and then they have a new gimmick, and you still refer to them as old gimmick.
Yeah,
that's just how it is.
And I'm so used to all this because
or the vice versa of that.
Yeah, I'm such
like nobody knows this, but Andy's real name is Aloysius Fauntleroy.
Yeah,
nobody ever calls him that. It's always Andy Hedder.
Yeah, I'm such a
like Terry Funk calls Mick Foley Cactus.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
Jim Cornette, same thing. He calls him Cactus.
Yeah, I'm such a so
that will be different.
I'm so pure still. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that will be different for every person you meet. It would depend on
when
you met them, what they want to be called. So it's
here's a quick thing.
That's there's no rule for that.
Yeah, I want to pose to you guys real quick, and this is where I get nervous sometimes. Like even when we're behind the scenes at like PPW or Outbreak or at Camp Leapfrog, and I was talking to Alex about this, where it's like I don't want to lose that spark or that magic of being a fan. Like there's some times where I don't want to know the ending to something, or I don't want to know the result of something. I want to experience it. Because I do talk to some people who are in the business, or I've talked to people who are in the business, and they kind of lost that little piece of it because they've learned so much behind the curtain.
It's hard to not get cynical, I guess, at points. I mean, and you still seem to like wrestling a lot.
Yeah.
You've been in it for what, 10 plus years
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, I think it's almost getting her 15.
I'm like Bree with wrestling, where I just like everything.
Yeah.
Where I'm probably annoying.
I mean, that's great, but
you're starting to dislike WWE. It seems.
I am. I'm having a hard time.
But it's because you've been exposed to something better.
Yeah. And once you see something better, just like once you have a better steak, then you're not going to go to the steakhouse that's okay anymore.
When I say better, I think quality and budget of the indie does not compare. Nothing really compares when it comes to the quality of what WWE puts out.
The production value.
But the fact that these people, for me, this is something that really, really resonates with me, especially with AEW. Like I lean more towards AEW than WB. Do I think AEW has problems when it comes to certain things? 100%. Do they have a hard time when it comes to matches and maybe some botches here and there? 100%.
Not everyone does.
But if WWE would have gotten a character like Orange Cassidy, and he's worked so hard and so long on that gimmick and getting it over and doing his thing, and then he got signed to WWE, and then that was just erased.
Orange Cassidy would be losing every week on 205 Live.
Yeah, I wouldn't even hardly see him.
Here's the thing with WWE. Here's the problem. It's like you would take the greatest chefs from around the world, and you would put them in this world-class kitchen with every appliance they could dream of. Everything is spotless and clean. The lighting is perfect. The utensils are spotless. Everything is great. And you go to these master chefs and you go, I want you to microwave me hot dogs. Please.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah, if you go there and you're awesome making cake, they're like, well, why don't you make pizza now?
Yeah. And it's a shame. And for me,
it makes no sense.
For me, being more involved with the indie scene and seeing how hard of work it takes to develop that character, right? So I seen, I'm not gonna say a name or anything, but I seen someone cut a promo. Now, when I've seen them in the ring, they're cool, calm, collect, and very confident with themselves. But when it comes to behind the camera, or when they're not out in front of the people, they're still very reserved and very figuring things out when it comes to getting that confidence of being around people. And it took me back for a second, because it's for example, a Darius Carter. I think the character he does, he's like the Ric Flair, or the larger than life person. It's got to take confidence, and it has to take practice to legit believe yourself as that character, to go into a room full of complete strangers and be like, I am better than you and I know it, and I'm elegant and I am the master, and like that's gotta, like, especially if that's not who you are outside the camera,
Right.
that takes practice, that takes repetition, that takes going to indie shows and working crowds and finding out how you can manipulate the crowd and do all that. Like, that's a craft, and that takes a long time to do. Like podcasting, people think, oh, I'm just going to turn it on and be good the first time. Like, I'm doing this 3 years, I still don't think I'm that great, but it's those reps, and every time you do it, it gets better. And then it's like, hey, we're going to go to this WWE, and then all your hard work is just completely tossed out the window, and you're going to be something you're completely not.
Everything you learned that whole time, they got you signed here. It's all wrong. Here's how you really do.
Yeah, which makes no sense. They hire you for what you're good at, but then don't want you to do what they hired you to do.
Yeah,
that makes no sense.
And I really respect AEW for saying, we want you to be what you're good at here.
Yeah, you have
keep doing
input.
that.
Yeah,
yes, and that's why I kind of like the independents, and I love Camp Leapfrog, and I love when these people get brought in, and it happens with the indie scene where, like, you'll go to a promotion and you're a world champ there, and then you go to the one down the street and you're a jobber. Like, it's just like, and that sucks. That sucks. But at the end of the day, I understand too that a professional wrestler is for the most part, you're an independent contractor. So you're agreeing to go and be,
well, an indie wrestler is very much an
yeah. So I mean, but you're agreeing to go work for this promotion and do what that promotion wants you to do.
Yeah,
right.
And one could be different from the other. Yeah.
Agreed. So I do get that, but I think there has to be some play where an independent a promoter is like, hey, what are you comfortable with? But hey, are you working on something you're trying to get over?
Yeah,
you know. And there's that give and take too, and that's all stuff I'm learning, and I want to stay.
Yeah, you'll learn more. I mean, the more you get in, the more you learn. So if you don't want to learn, don't get in.
Yeah,
that's what you know.
Yeah, and I'm like I said, I'm learning things and seeing things, and I'm still really enjoying
but
myself.
I mean, you still like. I mean, some people, but like, if you don't like wrestling anymore, that's not wrestling's fault. Not because you learned, it's just because maybe you just don't like it anymore. You grew out of it. I still love wrestling. I watched the match today; it was wonderful. So like, I don't know, you know.
And then for me, like,
it's different for every person.
For taking that huge break and not watching other promotions and then going back and relearning them, like watching old WCW and ECW now, I'm like, holy fuck, that was some cool shit going on there. Yeah. Like, some of it was not great, but some of it was really good too.
And also, just to kind of distill something that when we had Ethan Wilde on the regular show today, he kind of said it like, just find what you like. Like, don't
you don't have to like everything.
There are a lot of different flavors of wrestling. There's lucha, there's hardcore, there's deathmatch, there's
British
style. There's
it's so cool when I like going to work and I work with like a diverse group of people, and I almost every day I'm wearing a wrestling shirt, and it's become a thing where they've noticed at work.
Right.
I would like, oh, you're wearing a wrestling shirt, and sometimes they're like, I don't, which one's that? I'm like, oh, he's an independent guy. You can actually see him in Hazleton, or I'm wearing a shirt of someone in Hazleton, and then people come up to me and go, holy shit, the main event. Right. I know them, and I'm like, yeah. Like, and the one night I wore their shirt, they're like, they're on Dark tonight. I go, they are on Dark tonight. You know what I mean? So that's exciting. But like, I have a Spanish community that works at my job, like Dominican, and actually the one Dominican guy came up to me and he brought up the gentleman who
Jack Fernino.
He was like, that guy was my hero, and I was like, I have no idea who he is. And then I kind of pulled him up at work on break, and I'm like, wait, this guy beat Flair?
Yep.
And he's like, yeah, like that was a huge deal because it was Dominican Republic, and that wasn't big in our area, but he was like our Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
And it was like, I was like, that's a cool little side story that I would have never known about.
I never knew it until Flair's book.
Really?
Flair's book is where I learned that.
Yeah. So there's so many cool avenues and stories of this, and I think I want to keep trying to capturing that when it comes to stories. And my segue here is Dark Side of the Ring, where I think they do a fantastic job of showing maybe some dark sides of things, but also a light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to maybe what.
It seems like the end of the episode always kind of focuses on something more
positive.
Positive ending.
First episode is someone who I didn't know much about in his WCW run.
At one point when I was very young, maybe my favorite wrestler.
Wow.
When first time I seen him on screen at WWE, I fell in love. I liked his look. I like his raspy voice. I loved everything about Brian Pillman. And I was aware that he wasn't, like, I didn't know why, but I was like, oh, he definitely doesn't have the same step as everybody else.
I didn't really notice as a kid.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I noticed because of how good he was before.
Yeah.
And then, like, he's not that good anymore.
Yeah.
But, like, I didn't know why.
I was already reading the Pro Wrestling Torch. So
see, I wasn't reading the dirt sheets yet, and I didn't have the internet for a while.
I had the dirt sheets when I was, like, 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I was talking to Meltzer, reading Meltzer when I was talking, I know why. I know why his work rate's down.
But yeah, this Dark Side of the Ring. So this Dark Side of the Ring made me a fan of two people that I did not think I was a fan of, or that I had different opinions or feelings about.
I became a fan of somebody I didn't even really know.
Yeah, me too. That Kim
That
Wood.
Kim dude,
Kim
yeah.
Wood is.
Kim Wood.
I would sign him and put him on my wrestling show. I'm like, I don't know what we're gonna do. We're gonna do something with.
How much of Brian's character you think was from that guy? Because
They seem to have a very close relationship.
Yeah.
That was like a father to him. It seemed like.
Yeah. He was on there, but I'm talking about two people who I didn't. Not saying I don't like them, but they're not really bright spots in the wrestling world, or I would say they're in the wrestling world. I respect them what they do, but I wasn't a fan of what they do sometimes, and that's Meltzer and Jim Cornette.
But Cornette's wonderful.
Yeah, I think maybe the reason you don't like Jim Cornette is because of stuff you read, not nearly stuff he's done.
A little bit of both. Where it says sometimes his opinions, like, well,
I mean, he has some opinions that I don't agree with, but like we're all allowed to tell.
Jim Cornette as a wrestling personality is incredible. He's one of the best there's ever been.
But I will say this, even though I may disagree with the way he feels about professional wrestling or some of the new stuff, he doesn't like slapstick, he doesn't like any of that, and I get that because he comes from a different time. At the end of the day, he wants what's best for this business of wrestling. He wants this business to survive the end of time. At the end of the day, even if he doesn't like what you're doing as a talent, or he's not liking what you do as a promotion, or he doesn't like he genuinely has a deep admiration and love for this business.
Well, he's not a guy who got into it for the money. He loved wrestling.
And that really, really showed to me more than some of the other episodes with this one.
Historian, he knows.
Yes, he's so intelligent. He's so smart. He, like I said, love him or hate him, he genuinely has a love for this business. And
that whole star ratings thing, he was one of the guys that invented it. Like Meltzer's one of everybody knows it for now, but it was Cornette and this guy Norm Dooley, who's another historian. They invented the whole. But they'll insist it should just be 5 stars, and Dave's like, "Nah, you can do whatever."
Yeah, which is fine. If it's Dave's newsletter, he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, but him crying in that documentary was like, "Fuck, man!" It's like 20-some years later, and that one's like, he genuinely gives a shit about the people he worked with, unless he didn't like you.
Yeah,
but like,
anybody.
I guess it was kind of like it humanizes him a little bit. The more I seen him on that documentary, it humanizes him for me. Where it's just like he's not just this villain who just, if it isn't his way, he don't like it. No, he genuinely loves this business and he wants the best for it.
And part of what you see with Jim Cornette on Twitter and that is working.
Yes,
he's still working.
Yeah, and it's like The Rock's TV show. He's working the angle. He's working the business. You know, he's always worked the gimmick. You know, and I got more love for him, more respect. I think he's going to become a regular rotation on my podcast again. I've
listened to Jim Cornette's podcast for years now.
Yeah, I'm going to start listening.
I've always been a big fan of Brian Last. He did the 605 Super podcast, which if you want to learn about wrestling history, oh boy,
605.
They go deep on that show.
Yeah,
I don't think it's as frequent as it used to be, but
they might do too deep of topics for you. They'll talk about some guy that wrestled like in the 60s.
I love the fucking.
I mean, maybe
I love the storytelling.
Some of the stuff is a little too deep for me. So like.
Yeah. I love storytelling in general, and that's what Dark Side of the Ring really brings. The 605 show,
605 Super podcast,
Super 605 is like the time. But Dark Side of the Ring is fantastic. These first 2 episodes that are on Vice's official YouTube, so you don't have to go and find them from nefarious ways.
Yes.
Right there, just you can all get YouTube Vice's.
So,
and the newest video they put up is part 2 of Brian Pillman's story.
So Big Dave won you over too, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, why didn't you like Big Dave?
Because of Bruce Pritchard, probably.
I don't know why. Like, there's. I mean,
I always kind of perceived him as someone who was just out there trying to spoil something, or to be the guy who says, "I know this and I want to put it out there." Like
he would, but like with the newsletter, you'd have to actively seek the newsletter. So if you didn't seek it, it's like if I ask you the end of the movie, I shouldn't be mad when you tell me.
Yeah. So the thing is he may honor that code, but his fans don't, and then they'll be on the internet like Dave said. This WrestleMania is going to be this main event. I'm like, you fucks, man. Like, I don't fucking want to know.
Dave doesn't know that stuff anymore.
You know what I'm saying? But like, just stuff like that in general, where like, oh, these dirt sheets are putting like, there's things I know in wrestling, like when it comes to stuff going on. And sure, I have a platform, and if I want views, I can fucking spoil shit and get the fucking. But I'm never gonna get that fucking in ever again. You know what I mean? And I shouldn't because I don't want to be that person who's like. If you tell me a secret, I'm going to fucking put it on the internet. You know what I mean?
A lot of people want to do that, and then they allow them to make up stories too.
Yes, and that was the kind of thing I learned where Meltzer was kind of helping Pillman in a way because he was just
helped a lot of guys.
Yeah,
and that's the guy Cactus Jack hired in WCW.
Which I learned more because of this documentary where he's like, hey, I have this ability to have this platform. So I'm going to make sure I plug you a lot on my newsletter so people know who the name Brian Pillman is. And I think that's a very admirable thing to do.
A lot of the guys were reading the sheets back then.
And it tended to be a lot of the guys that he would put over like that were his sources.
Yeah, the guys that would talk to us. Which like anybody, you know, when your friend does something, you're like, oh yeah, he's a little bit better.
There's a reason he always put over Cactus. There's a reason he always put over Ric Flair and Terry Funk.
And
they were
the Bucks and Kenny. You
know. So like in a way, that's kind of what I'm trying to replicate a little bit here on our network. Like if we're so really passionate about a talent, I want to talk about them, and I want to get more people exposed to that talent. So I guess in that aspect, I got a little more admiration and love for Dave Meltzer because of this show, this episode.
I never had anything bad to.
I just didn't.
I mean, I guess back in the day, like, oh, so and so is gonna be this character, and I understand in the '80s maybe that would ruffle feathers, but nowadays, like, whatever.
Yeah,
I think with the star thing, Dave can get a little up his own ass.
Yeah.
Especially because people are like, oh yeah, well it's subjective. He's like, well no, actually it's not. This is really what it was. No, Dave. No, it's your opinion.
Yeah. It's literally your opinion. It's not like here's the rule book for writing a match.
Yeah. So it's that definitely said that, but this Brian Pillman story was. The way they did it was just unbelievable. I'm excited for the this season coming up. I'm just, I even if you're not a pro wrestling fan, you can watch these and get something from it. And
by the way, what did you think of Dave Meltzer's office?
Yeah. It's just always messy. I love how they scan the floor.
And he still has a giant CRT monitor from 1988.
He still has like 5 computers. I'm like, Dave, you know, you can just use one.
Yeah.
And on one of the computers, the first time they show him is the F4W online message board.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. But even like with the Dark Side of the Ring, like you don't have to be a wrestling fan to watch that. And when we do our topics, I kind of lean towards where you don't have to be a wrestling fan to hear the story of this person's topic to listen. And you know, I like it. I like it a lot. I'm a big fan of what they do over there. It's
very well made.
Yeah. It was fucking moving, and it really it made me really solidify why I liked him as a talent, as a person and ability, because like he was just fucking he went for it, man. Like
I was never real big into Brian Pillman, but
I think I liked him when I was like 6 years old because his name was Brian.
Yeah,
okay,
he was like the underdog babyface.
I like him because he has my name.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean like that.
The WWE documentary. I don't know if you've ever seen that. That was
I had the DVD.
Yeah. The fact that with him and Austin, it was really cool to see the documentary.
The Hollywood Blondes were great tag team.
And how Flair kind of was like, man, I like this guy a lot. And he was putting him over. Flair was putting him over. Like, I could work 45 minutes with you in the ring and then go work another 30 with you at the bar. Like, that was kind of cool.
One thing they kind of didn't mention that I was surprised they didn't mention was before that, there was a little bit of a downtime for Brian Pillman. And it was when Bill Watts was the head of WCW before Bischoff came in, because Bischoff kind of brought him back with the Hollywood Blondes. But he was kind of he was a baby face, and they had him as like kind of an understudy, like Sting and those guys, and he was a light heavyweight champion for a while. They brought in Liger. That was Liger's first like US stuff was against Pillman. Bill Watts
they opened the first Nitro, right?
Yeah, and even before that, they did like a show on a Super Brawl in like 1991 or 92. But when Bill Watts came in mid 92, his directive was cut costs. Do whatever he had to do to cut costs. And so he had Brian Pillman, and Brian Pillman was making some big money for like a guy who was like a lower card. And he wanted him to take a pay cut, and Pillman was like, no. Because again, if you watch that episode, he cared about his kids. He was trying to feed his kids. And he's like, no, I have a guaranteed contract. We're like, well, you know, there's going to be issues. I'm not going to push you. And he's like, I will be the highest paid opening match jobber in the history of professional wrestling. I'm not taking a pay cut.
Yeah.
And he did get buried for a while.
And who in the right mind would take a pay cut? You know, like, I'm making this much. No, I'm not.
And there is things in there, I guess, in today's time where we over criticize people's judgment calls from 10, 15, 30 years ago. He made mistakes when it came to how he treated women and how he partied and had 3 different kids from 3 different women.
That was the wrestling life back.
And so in that aspect, sure. And kind of what happened with his first wife was talked about in the documentary, which was really moving. Whereas like, man, like she ended up like taking her own life, which is,
I never knew that he had I just thought he was with that Melanie.
Yeah. And he kind of showed like, I fucked up. Like I fucking took someone's life. Like one of my kids now doesn't have a mother, and now she doesn't even have a father. You know, it's kind of crazy to think about that. But through all that, his daughter and his son, not his daughter that he had first that he didn't know about for 2 years, but his other two kids, Brian Pillman Jr. Like first time I seen him in Hazelton, I was like, I like this guy. Like I really like him. I like just there's times where you meet somebody and you're like, or you see someone, you're like, I bet you even outside their gimmick, they're a good human. And I always got that vibe from Pillman where he was just very appreciative and he was very like thankful wherever he was or whatever he was doing. And sure, he had the name of Pillman, but he realized that he was going to work for every single thing he had. And that kind of was confirmed by PPW staff where they're like, yo, we went to a pizza shop and he was just like over the moon thankful that we let him wrestle in the ring. And like, that's just how he carries himself. And I was like, that's good to hear. You know what I mean? And then just hearing of what he went through with his dad and his mom, and then his new stepdad.
More so, it was just his stepdad.
Well, I think him and the stepdad and the mom were not great.
Yeah.
They were
when Brian was alive, it seemed like it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was good. But then once
when
his dad passed away, his life kind of went to shit.
Yeah, that's
and he got emotional talking about it. Like I had no fucking place of peace. Like my life fucking sucked. And that kid could have easily turned down the same exact path of his parents and got a drug and alcohol problem and all that. And you'll find out in the documentary with like his sister, Brian's sister, Brian Pillman Sr.'s sister was a huge impact on those kids' lives.
Oh wow.
And Pillman Jr., man, like if you don't watch that and think, man, I fucking root for this guy for the rest of his career, you're crazy. Like he's just an inspiration alone of the fact that he didn't follow those footsteps, and he could have easily resented his mother for the rest of his life and said, you did this and you did that.
I probably would have.
Right. And he's like, there's no point for that. There's no time for it. Life is too short. I already lost one parent.
He said, what do I have to gain from it?
Yeah, I have nothing to gain from it. If I turn around and hate my mother for the rest of my life, I already have no father. I might as well make an attempt. And that's a big fucking pill to swallow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now he's really following in his father's footsteps, but he's doing it with this new age wrestling style now, where it's not the same locker room it was when his dad was there. It's not the same locker room before hit that time. It's a completely different style when you walk in a locker room now, where it's a camaraderie and it's a family and people legit care about each other. Like if you probably went into a locker room now with a drug or alcohol problem, people would probably call you out on it immediately, like, let's get you help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's kind of cool that he's following his dad's footsteps. And because of past discretions of what things like his dad went through and some of these other legends went through, where they're no longer with us today because no one was willing to step up and be a friend, this newer locker room has taken this sport and changed it to a point where we're not going to let our friends go down that road anymore. You know what I mean? Which is kind of cool. You're holding people accountable. If you're not a good person in a locker room, or you're doing things that people aren't cool with, and you're checked and you don't change, you're getting outed and you're getting the fuck out of our locker room, which is kind of we're not going to have these Brian Pillman stories anymore, or these drug overdose stories. Or he wasn't a drug overdose, but like stories of wrestlers having these problems where they're now dead because of this new age wrestling locker room that doesn't want that either.
And one of the first people I ever remember hearing that from was Kofi Kingston, of all people. When Cole Cabana was first starting his podcast in like 2008, 2009, right after he left WWE, Kofi was one of the first people he had on it. This was back when WWE would still let people go on podcasts.
Yeah.
And he was like, the old guys would talk about how they would just drink all night or do this other stuff. And not even old guys, like Steve Austin would always talk about that. Flair would do it, obviously. All those guys, even in the 90s. It's like, I go to my hotel room, I talk to my wife for 3 hours, and I play my PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like that was his time after the show.
Yeah.
Because back then, like the whole thing was let's drink and get drunk and do drugs and fuck whores. It's like that with it. And then when you're coming in, like even if you don't want to do that, it's all these people that you want to be a part of. So of course you're gonna do what
I think
they want.
the worst you're
and it kind of sucks.
People probably still have a couple beers and they may smoke some pot, but no one's banging heroin and smashing steroids down their throats.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Get that here and there, but like anything. But it's not the accepted like, oh, here's some
and it's not even forced on you. Like you know what I mean?
Back then it kind of was. It's like, okay, we're gonna drive to the next town and we're gonna drink the whole way. Like now, people are like, are you fucking crazy?
You don't drink and drive. Like we're not gonna fucking drink and drive. Like, and I like that because I don't want to see these fucking people die at young ages. You know, all of most of my favorite wrestlers are fucking dead.
Brian Pillman was 35.
That's horrible.
Crazy.
It's fucking terrible.
Wow.
And if you know, they talk about the documentary. If he was never in that car accident, what if?
Yeah.
What if? And there's two people. It was kind of eerie that they were kind of both showing at the same time. Like, if the steroid use and that stuff wasn't so rampant, and which causes horrible heart conditions and everything like that. But or like even like the Owen Hart tragedy. Could you imagine like 10 years when wrestling was in that little bit of a slump if we had Owen and Eddie and
I think Owen would have been retired by then.
and Pillman around at that time?
Pillman would have definitely been retired by then.
But I'm just saying, like, if that time where he wasn't had that slump, he would have still, like, I don't know, like, the wrestling landscape would probably be a lot different.
Probably would have been dead. Well, not dead. They would have been done by that point.
Yeah,
like, but they would have been huger stars.
Yeah, but that new generation of talent was starting to come in where they would have had to work with them at their tail end of their careers, and it would have been exciting to see.
Yeah. I would much rather see him as world champion though than work with some new young.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just sad, but the light at the end of the tunnel is like just rooting for his kid. And if you are interested, I know I did. There is Brian Pillman merchandise now available on Pro Wrestling Tees. I got the loose cannon shirt, and they also have one where it's like his old school shirt where it was him with that symbol.
No, that four.
That four was a really cool four.
Yeah, and then his son Brian Pillman Jr. uses a modified version of that four.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But it's neat. It's kind of cool to that not only is Dark Side of the Ring telling these stories, not so much to capitalize on pain and suffering, but kind of be like, let's make a change type deal. And that's kind of
not a hit piece either.
No, it's not.
Sometimes, but it's usually, if it is, then the person deserves it. But
absolutely, yeah. So it was a great documentary. Definitely check it out. Check out the past episodes. They do.
Yeah, and on YouTube it will come to I think each one's like 45 or 46.
Yeah,
minutes.
they're easy watches.
And if you have Peacock, and I don't know if these shows are on Peacock or not, because I haven't really tried to look at it that much.
I haven't used.
I watched WrestleMania and I watched the Austin Jericho interview, and that's about it.
I was trying to watch because remember how I told you I was going back and watching WCW. That has come to a complete halt because you can't really do it.
I heard the interface is not there.
It's horrible.
Because I was going to say, I would recommend two shows you can watch if they're available. Old school Pillman, Super Brawl 2, Pillman and Jushin Liger, and then Wrestle War 91 is my favorite. They just did Blood and Guts on AEW. It's War Games.
Yeah.
And my favorite War Games ever was Flair, Larry Zbyszko subbing for Arn Anderson, Sid and Barry Windham against Sting, Pillman, and the Steiners, and Brian Pillman is the focal point of the match.
Nice.
And it is, in my opinion, and this is a big stretch maybe, the best WCW match ever.
Wow. Oh, here's the Kilowatt. He's with us.
Beep, beep, beep.
Get him in here.
I got from there.
We're just talking about Dark Side of the Ring. We're just closing.
Did you get a chance to watch the Brian Pillman episode?
I watched probably a quarter of it when it was on YouTube, like a pre-screener or whatever.
Okay, they are both on the Vice's official YouTube page. One in particular.
Well, you can kind of talk about this a little bit. What was Pillman Jr. like at PPW?
He's a freaking sweetheart. I got to pick him up and hang out with him. We went to lunch together. Sound like we dated. He's not CC Boost. No, he was just a really nice guy. I think I wouldn't say he's necessarily a quiet guy, but I think he was just really tired. But yeah, we went down to a spot in Hazleton called it was like a lunch spot, and they had like chili dogs was like their thing. But good dude, just all around great guy, sweetheart.
We're essentially saying that what this kid went through. It's a miracle he didn't follow down that same path as his mother or getting into a drug abuse or something, because just mentally he was so tortured. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like he kind of broke down in the documentary and talks about it, but just the fact that he wants to follow in his father's footsteps and all that stuff. I'm not going to reiterate it for the people who just listen, but someone who's very grateful of what he does and everything.
I feel like as somebody who's been through not the exact same situation, but a very similar situation with like abuse and drugs.
People have been through less and have gone down worse paths. You know?
Yeah, but like I think for somebody to take that as an experience of what not to be and what not to do, right?
Yeah.
But then there's also the kind of part of the story where it's, you can understand like where Chris Benoit's family is like, I'm never getting into wrestling, but he's like, you know what? Eventually I found wrestling, and it is my calling. I understand that too. It's really cool.
Right before we get off the subject, I want to pull one thing up from Twitter that I found. Because after I watched the documentary, I was honest. I was moved. I thought it was very well done. I thought it was so inspirational, and I wanted to. I actually tweeted out Brian Pillman Jr. and I tweeted out
Dark Side of the Ring.
Dark Side of the Ring, and just said, "Hey, thank you so much. Like what you're doing is fucking amazing." But Brian Pillman Jr. tweeted this out. He said, "Growing up, I felt like I had no family at all, and that was until I decided to venture into the wide world of professional wrestling. To everyone at AEW, MLW, and every indie promotion in between, thank you for being there for me. Thank you for being my family." And that was kind of a fucking cool thing to hear. You know what I mean? Like, he's gone through so fucking much, and just the fact that he's even in this business is cool. And Bully Ray tweeted back of a picture of them two, nose to nose, and just like a heart. You know what I mean? Like, like everyone he's worked with has reached back out to him, like, keep doing what you're doing, kid.
I remember him telling me that he was so surprised that PPW would bring him in for a second time, or even a third and a fourth, which was,
and he lost both matches.
I would have had to win all of them.
He was so grateful, and you know, it's no, I don't care if it's a secret or not. He came in at a very cheap and a very humble price. The dude obviously has name power, but he was in his first year of professional wrestling, but his name got him really quickly to MLW and the whole Heart Foundation thing that they were doing. But he didn't let any of that go to his head. He didn't play by his namesake. Like he put in the work, you know.
Interesting thing for him as well. So he's coming up in the business. He's taking whatever he gets offered because he wants to get those reps and he wants to do things.
Mm-hmm.
And another person he teamed up with a lot in the indie scene was somebody who a lot of people wouldn't touch, a lot of people that wouldn't go near, kind of almost like not in the same aspect of like his dad kind of built a reputation. We're like, I know his popularity can get me seen, but is he worth the risk? And that was kind of like an Enzo. And he traveled with Enzo for a while there, just working matches with him just to get in the door of a promotion, just to get a match. And then with somebody that Enzo was like, I won't work with anybody else but Brian. You know what I mean?
That's kind of who I thought you were gonna bring up Teddy.
Yeah,
that's what I thought too. Yeah.
Well, he did Teddy, but he also did a lot with Enzo. If you look at a lot of Enzo's matches after he left WWE, most of them are all worked with Brian Pillman Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's shift gears here a little bit.
I don't. They didn't announce what the next episode is, did they?
Warrior, I think.
Oh,
is that the next one? I don't know if they. I didn't think they officially said what the next one is. That one's on the block that Jake Roberts won. Nick Gage. There's 6, and then there's a break, and then they're gonna do 6 more.
Yeah.
So, like Luna Vachon's in the second half, FFW is in the second half, XPW is in the second half.
There's so much I want to learn more about her. So, I was always a huge fan of Luna.
I don't know much about Luna.
Cool.
I just remember being on TV. She caught my attention every time.
I've gotten to meet her once. She was awesome. Just awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to all the Plane Ride from Hell's in the second half.
I believe the next episode may be Nick Gage.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Already. Nice. Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, and then Collision in Korea would be after that.
All right.
Cool.
Well, I'm pretty sure they filmed the Nick Gage one because I've seen like voiceovers Moxley's done for it.
They said
Nick Gage played himself.
They filmed everything like for interview wise. They just have to do like they do reenactments.
Yeah.
they do some of that and editing for the last.
The people who they get to play, like, I know you don't see their face, but you just kind of see like enough. The people who they get to do that is fucking unbelievable.
Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're way off. Like the Eric Bischoff in the Pillman one looked horrible. I'm like,
the guy who looked
Bischoff
the Pillman one looked good. The guy who
he looked good. Yeah, Steve Austin was a little too muscular. I was like, looks more like Goldberg.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's real bad.
Yeah.
But hey, that's part of the show.
Yeah, but overall documentary series, if you want to check it out,
great.
Please do. It's so good. So good. All right, well, let's shift gears here.
So if you want to move on to people to be proud of and to be happy for and to congratulate.
Daniel Bryan.
Well, yeah, he's a free agent. I was going to go more toward the Super 8 that just happened over the weekend.
Let's talk about it.
And Mr. Ooh La La winning the CWA Unified
I wrestled
Heavyweight
Mr. Ooh La La once. It's cool because I seen him when I was 14 at ECW in Oryxburg. So
I'm gonna keep stealing stuff from the Miranda Friends podcast, but the winner the winner of Super 8, Killian, says flat out, he goes, I stole most of what I do is because of Mr. Ooh La La. So he was very happy that and Darius Carter.
Yes.
Yeah. So he was like, it was very cool to have an appearance with him at a show.
So not only does you kind of got to the end of the beginning there and saying Killian won, but they did have obviously 8 people. It's the Super 8, and Camp Leapfrog very well represented and very well represented forward in the tournament. If you look at the people who win in the first round, a very good professional wrestler wins in the first round. Killian McMurphy wins in the first round. Matt Mikowski wins in the first round.
As a fan, I was kind of like, I hope one or maybe 2 lose, right? Early, just so you know what I mean, like you don't have to like pick your favorite kid, you know, and then all 3 of them just do what they do, and you're like, oh fuck.
And then Devin Storm,
replace him.
subbing for Ricky Morton gets a win too.
Yeah.
And then,
Omar.
yeah, Devin Crowbar Storm, and then very good professional wrestler beats Matt Mikowski. Killian beats Devin Storm, and in your main event, unfortunately, there is an injury to a very good professional wrestler, but Killian McMurphy is your Super 8 champion.
I'd be very interested to hear, and I know it's as a story that maybe wouldn't get out because I know some people want to keep kayfabe and they don't want to say everything, but like, how do you feel? Like, obviously you're happy to win, but like on that turn, you know, on those terms, you know.
One thing I do want to say really quickly, and I know they're out of New Jersey now. I think it's very cool that a guy from Delaware won the Super 8 because that was a Delaware promotion forever.
Yeah. Very happy. I've and I'm not just saying this because he won the Super 8. I have been very high on Killian since the moment I seen him.
I think he's great.
I remember talking to you. I was like, whoever fuck that guy is, I fucking love him.
Yeah.
He's so good. I think the night I seen him was at an Outbreak show. It was the one where he wrestled Ace Austin.
Okay.
So already he's wrestling Ace Austin, and everyone, the buzz is, oh, this guy is probably his last independent show. He's moving up. Like that was like the buzz. You know what I mean? Andy was defending his title that night, which was super exciting. And that's in that same show.
I forget what show it was.
It was the one in that really, really small gymnasium. Like really small.
Oh, okay. Yeah. In Birdsboro. Okay.
Yeah, Birdsboro. And Ace Austin wrestled Killian. And I remember after the show, I was like, I don't know who this Killian is, but he's unbelievable.
Right.
Like just his character work. He was so good, had a great look. Everything about him I fell in love with. And I just became a fan ever since. And then he made a couple more Outbreak appearances. I watched him a lot online.
Yep.
And then he shows up at PPW, and I pull you, and I'm like, this fucking guy. Like, I'm like, we're interviewing him. I'm talking to him. Like, I can't believe he's here, and like, no one cares. Like, to me,
yeah, just because they had that seminar. There was a day of the Billy Gunn seminar.
Yeah.
So there's just wrestlers just hanging out in the bleachers. They're going to be in the Rumble later. That might not necessarily be PPW regulars. So we got a chance to talk to a lot of them. Got to talk to him, Ian Bush.
Yeah.
That was a good time.
I even went to you. I was like, fucking Killian's in the bleachers. They're fucking Killian McMurphy. Like, I was like stoked. I was like, and I was like, why does no one care right now? That guy's a fucking star. Like,
and then later that night, him and Andy, Andy's one, he's 2, and then they're both there toward the very end too.
Which is very fitting because if there's 2 people that deserved it, was definitely used to be the Iron Man. You have him by a couple seconds.
Yeah.
You know,
A little bit.
Yeah, but just I wish nothing but best for that guy. Fucking huge fan. And just the Goon Squad, the Camp Leapfrog Goon Squad, and actually that night at PPW, it's the first time we met Big Dust. Yeah.
And every time there's a Camp Leapfrog thing, I will like message to him like, Big Dust is so great.
Yeah,
he's so goddamn entertaining.
It's hard not to fall in love with Dust, but yeah. So Killian goes out, gets a chair, sits in the ring, and I guess something they call it. So I guess they're saying he snapped his ankle in a few spots.
Yeah,
pretty bad ankle injury.
Yeah, broke his ankle 3 places.
Yeah.
So he already got surgery, and already off to healing up. So
yeah, sucks, man.
I'll be out for a while.
I hope nothing but the best for him. He is exactly what his name is. He's a very good professional wrestler.
I figured to say the best.
Yeah, he is the best. So we wish him a speedy recovery and hope he bounces back. But huge congratulations nonetheless to Killian for winning the Super 8.
It's such a bittersweet way to do it because it's a brotherhood, and then you're happy you had this big moment. Then this guy you work with is down and out.
And then, like I said, it pretty much came down to who was the 4th guy? I forget the 4th guy.
Devin Storm.
But I mean, top 3 were all
Devin Storm and 3 Camp Leapfrog guys in the semifinals.
Yeah.
I love that.
Matt Mikowski.
I want to be in the Super 8. I would love that. I'll lose first round. Don't matter to me.
Put your name out there, man.
Hey, could I be in the Super 8? No.
Email people. Be like, hey, fucking book me.
Oh, that don't. Yeah, that. Yeah.
yeah.
Create a bunch of fake emails as fans. And just
if anyone's listening
Andy
that's
Hitter.
a wrestler, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that. Trust me, quite a few people aren't getting booked on Leapfrog for putting their names out there with our like on tweets, like you should book me. You should book me.
Yeah, like don't do that, wrestling people. Don't do that.
It's
do that behind the scenes. Don't because to say, if I do this publicly, that means they have to. No, they don't.
Yeah.
In fact, that's gonna do the opposite.
Like getting into a video game.
If you're like an Effie or like somebody big, right? And you do that, sure, the promotion might be flattered. But like when you're just a regular guy, don't do that. Please don't do that.
Yeah.
It's a tough thing. I'm gonna play devil's advocate. It's tough because if you want to show interest that you want to be on someone's show, but you also can't always stay silent and just hope it comes to you as well.
There's a way to do it with
well,
tact.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can
like
message
they-
the promoter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I would love to have
Or you
people on
talk
the
to someone that's
podcast.
there, and you do it all behind us. You don't have to do it for public display.
There you go. Not public display, but you definitely want to reach out to people and say that you put interest. Like
Yeah, like what you do would be an honor to work there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want people on the
talk to
podcast, but then sometimes I'm like, well, I don't want to bug them. Maybe they'll just ask. No one's gonna fucking ask because they're probably thinking the same thing. Like, well, I want to be on their podcast, but I'm waiting for them to ask me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it could be one of those deals where you want each other. You both want the same thing.
The guy and the girl like each other. No one asks.
but they're not putting the pieces together. So
Do you want to book me? Yes, no, maybe.
Yes, no.
I'm gonna do that. I'm
You
gonna
crumple it up and throw it back at him.
I'm gonna make a GIF that literally says, "Do you want to be on the podcast? Yes, no, or maybe," and then
Maybe.
just send it to someone's
Get a bunch
DMs.
of babies like, I don't know what to do.
and just slide it into people's DMs.
Oh boy.
There's a few people I reached out to and I get no response, and that happens, and I don't take offense to it. It just because I look at me as like, who the fuck am I? I'm just a fucking stupid ass podcast.
That happens.
Oh my god.
People, that's the way of the world right now. People, when they feel it's better to not reply than to say no.
And that's fine too. It's a tricky situation, but yeah. Anything else for Super 8?
That was pretty much it for the Super 8.
And usually it's just
the other
tournament
big,
itself.
the big news in wrestling this week, probably Brian Danielson, a free agent.
with
Now,
no
what does that mean?
with no compete
It
clause.
does it mean he's going to be going to camp?
yeah.
Well, I mean, he may know quite a few people. He might have it in. I don't know.
So officially, unofficially. Now
Would you
I'm
guys
not-
shit yourself if he fucking was just there and you guys had no clue?
Yeah, it's like, oh, there's Danielson.
You're like, hey, we're gonna have.
What are you
this-
doing? That don't matter.
We're gonna put Brian in a damn like a tadpole match is what we're doing.
What's gonna happen? Well, I already told Alex. I said, "What
It's
you're
going to be
gonna
American Dragon against Dragon.
yeah." No, what's gonna happen is they're gonna have these two people in costumes there all day, and it's gonna be a guy in a gorilla suit and a guy in a goat suit. And at the very, very end, they're like, "We're gonna have a goat versus a gorilla," and then they're gonna get in and put on this 5-star match. At the very end, they're gonna take their costumes off, and it's gonna be Joe and Daniel Bryan.
The best is they don't take it off till after the show.
Yeah.
Like when, which one was Necro Butcher, Colt Cabunny, or CP Monk?
Yeah, he was CP Monk.
That's right.
They said Necro Butcher is. I just seen a tweet. He was going through. I'm not thinking. No. Is it Necro Butcher that was going through cancer stuff?
No.
Who was the other? The old school guy. Something Butcher. I don't know,
Abdullah the Butcher?
No, I seen a tweet that said something about
This is news to me.
someone being cancer free.
Yeah, this is news to me. Knuckle Butcher, as far as I know, never had cancer.
Yeah.
He's also not an old school guy.
Oh, maybe this is an older. Let me
He's just an old guy.
Yeah.
Just
hold
not
on.
old school.
I seen it.
He was like a deathmatch guy. He was in CCW and Ring of Honor.
yeah. This is me having no experience with certain things. I apologize. I just seen.
But yeah, Brian Danielson now, I would assume. I would think he's going to take a break for a little bit, and then he'll show up somewhere.
Yeah, there's rumors that like WWE's putting on the full court press to re-sign him.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But it seems like if he let his contract run out, he might have designs on maybe going somewhere.
Yeah,
else.
he did have a list for people he wanted to wrestle.
I know for a while he was talking
Okada.
about Arena Mexico
Yeah.
and doing like this was back when he was retired.
Yeah.
He wanted to do a hair match.
Oh,
And-
okay.
and he went to lose his hair in Arena Mexico.
He'd grow it out. And he really wants to wrestle Jonathan Gresham.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was,
very cool.
yes, that'd be awesome. In Ring of Honor. He's
Show up
Ring of
in
Honor.
the fucking Pure tournament. There,
Yeah.
that'd be
Can you
freaking
imagine?
cool.
That's what ROH needs a crowd for that, man.
And they need a crowd and they need to buy the rights to the final countdown.
Yeah, just buy it. Even if it is for that
Sinclair's
night.
got the
Yeah.
money. If Tony Khan can buy the Pixie song,
Yeah, and Jungle Boy.
and Tarzan Boy, Sinclair can buy the final countdown.
Yes, at least for one night.
Yeah, I'm not finding the post, unfortunately.
And then
I
they
don't know who
have
you
to
mean.
wait till there's a crowd again. They have to put those metal boards.
Oh, so they can bang on the
and they can yell,
metal
you're gonna
ROH
get your
thing.
fucking head kicked
Yeah.
in. Oh, you don't know any of this, Tony? Yeah, they used to do
Yeah.
that. Whenever Brian Danielson would wrestle, the crowd would yell, "You're gonna get your fucking head kicked in," and then they'll go.
Yeah, do that clap.
Oh, I love it.
It was awesome. So I don't know. I'm excited.
I'm going through this page.
I hope he doesn't go back to WWE just because I want to see.
I'm
all the
trying to
different
think of any other
matches.
butchers. There was Brutus Beefcake, but you wouldn't call him the butcher.
Yeah,
there was
yeah.
Butcher Vachon, who I believe might be dead.
I'm not sure. I was just.
Abdul the Butcher.
Abdul the Butcher should be dead.
I'm high.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, here I'll just go through some news here. Eva Marie's back.
Yes.
That's exciting.
Great.
Correct.
AEW had gigantic ratings. They were #1 in all of cable TV.
Yeah,
For
how about
18 to
that?
49 on Wednesday night.
Yeah, what was it? 1.4?
It was a 0.41,
Yeah.
18 to 49, but just over a million viewers.
Yeah, that's great.
Besides Daniel Bryan, the other big news in wrestling, Jinder Mahal is back, ladies and gentlemen, with a new stable.
On Main Event, Stop the Presses.
Yeah.
Did he ever leave?
Yeah, he had an injury.
Oh.
Yeah,
he
he
was
blew
gone
out his
for-
ACL, I think. He was gone for almost a year.
I don't care.
Put that in the same category.
But he
as
doesn't have the
Eva
Singh
Marie.
brothers anymore. He has those other guys that were in
Those
NXT.
two-
Oh,
Indus-
Bashir or
Yeah.
Indashir.
What are they called? The one-man Bollywood band?
Yeah.
The two guys that got kicked out of NXT because they gave away the ending to the Keith Lee match.
Yeah, remember that?
When Keith Lee beat Adam Cole for the title, one of them, I guess, shared a picture of the celebration, and that's how everybody knew Keith Lee was going to win.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And they never used them again on NXT.
I mean, why would you post?
Yeah.
Maybe he thought the show was live. We taped it at 2 in the afternoon. I don't know.
So Blood and Guts happened. We'll talk about
Yeah.
that. Fans a little upset because they paid to be in attendance to watch an hour of footage on the Titantron, which from what I've been hearing is also it was on their ticket stub saying that was going to be the case.
Yeah, I think they even said you're coming in for one match. Like,
Yeah.
I thought they were talking about the TV show. I'm like, they're gonna do a 2-hour match.
That's what I thought too.
And then the week before they're announcing like Cody and QT Marshall. Like, they are doing other matches.
Yeah.
Because even I remember hearing, there's only going to be one match. But I guess that was for the live crowd. But
yeah, and people are
don't
like,
pay attention.
Well, they should have raised the cage. Well, they can't because there's not a ceiling.
Yeah.
So they're not going to bring in a crane
Right.
just to raise a cage for an hour. You know, that's pointless. So I don't know. And then they did offer full refunds if you wanted one. So
Which I mean, just fucking go enjoy it.
there's nothing to argue about that.
Overall, I thought it was a good show.
Yeah, I even thought the Blood and Guts match was good. In the ending,
Ending was a little flat, but the match itself was very good, and I thought Sammy was the star of it. With the Grand Terminator and that Spanish fly when they both up on the rope.
Nasty cut off his arm.
Yeah, I don't know how he got that.
Yeah.
FTR was bleeding like crazy.
They were all fucking bleeding like psychos. But Jericho takes a bump off the top of the cage through a crash pad, and of course he went through a fucking crash pad.
Yeah,
like
who wouldn't?
Why would you
Maybe
want him
Darby
not?
Allin.
Yeah. Listen, I love
Darby Allin
Darby.
got thrown down the steps.
Yeah.
I respect Darby Allin. I think Darby Allin is a talent. But once again, I'll say it here. Darby Allin scares the fuck out of me because he's that
Chris
guy.
Jericho's also a 50-year-old man.
Yeah.
Darby Allin's that guy where it's like the day's gonna come where you're gonna break your fucking neck, and people are like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "What do you mean, oh my god? Do you see the stupid stuff he's willing to do?"
I can't wrestle anymore, and I'm 32.
Yes, and I don't want that for anybody. As someone who walks around with joint pain, for my entertainment, you do not have to throw yourself down a set of concrete stairs.
I'm glad Jericho used the crash pad. I wish they would have shot it better.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wish they would have put some more production into it.
Yeah.
You can't make steel diamond plate padding or diamond plate look like it crushes like cardboard. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day,
And they should have painted the underside of it, and they should have shot it from a lower angle.
Yeah,
There's a million things.
like he should have fell through more.
Yeah,
so he didn't.
Yeah,
I'd rather have that happen than what happened in that Matt Hardy Sammy Guevara match
Exactly.
where Hardy's head bonked off the concrete.
Yeah. I be safe. I don't want my favorite wrestlers fucking dying or breaking their neck
I
or
don't
not
want my
being able to
least
wrestle.
favorite wrestlers break.
I don't want anyone getting hurt. Exactly. So in one side, like in one thing is like, well, Darby Allin's willing to get thrown down concrete stairs. To me, I think that's stupid. Sorry, it's stupid. I'd rather see fucking cardboard diamond steel plate before I see a guy legit take a bump down concrete stairs.
We're never going to see Mick Foley, a guy really getting thrown off a cell again.
Yeah.
It's
I
not
have
going to
no
happen.
problem seeing him getting thrown down the stairs. Camera cut, he's laying at the bottom of the stairs.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
I'm fine with
Fine with that.
You're not impressing me, Darby Allin, by fucking almost killing yourself. And if anything, please stop doing that because I want you to stay around longer. You know what I mean? Like
even when they do stupid bumps, I'm like, you don't have to do that.
when he took that power bomb inside that body bag.
Yeah, to the whatever ramp.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, I was like, what?
stop,
Why? You don't have to do
stop,
that. Yeah.
please stop. You're going to get hurt, and I don't want that. You know, like I like you enough. I don't want you not to be around. But
And
yeah,
and it's funny because I just thought of it. They could have. I wonder why they didn't gimmick it. Maybe because this was such a close call. If you remember, and it sucks because who was in the match about a year ago when Moxley was a champion and he had the match with Brody Lee. They went through the stage. It was on, I think, Double or Nothing.
yeah.
And one of them almost hit their head on the part that wasn't
Moxley.
gimmicked, Moxley. So maybe that's why they wanted even more of a protection there, because
Yeah.
that would have been great if you just had a normal looking stage and then Jericho goes through.
Yeah, that would have just like ECW, Taz and Bam Bam.
Yeah, because the first time they go through the ring, the second time they go through the ramp.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it does not bother me. At the end of the day, I still know it's professional wrestling, and you have to suspend disbelief. And if it makes someone
not
safe,
many people would fall off the top of the ledge, even onto a crash.
Exactly. So the fact that he's willing to even do that at his age for the entertainment, just right over there, like scratching your mic.
You can hear that?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was trying to shift it. I thought I was doing it quietly. I was not.
It wasn't real loud.
But yeah, I think overall it was a fun show. I was excited.
I thought the match was really good.
What else?
I like that Miro came out and cut that promo. I thought that was very good, and I hope he beats Darby Allin for the title.
I believe he will. And I also believe that.
Oh yeah, I seen that. That's crazy.
I also believe that Orange Cassidy is going to be your number one contender.
Yeah, I think so. So after that promo, how could you not?
It's just unfortunately he's not going to win it.
No.
Kenny shouldn't lose it though.
Yeah, but yeah, Kenny shouldn't lose right now.
Anybody interested in a free Austin Aries NXT card?
Ooh, how about it?
I know someone who would be interested in it.
Trash. Oh yeah. Also trash.
You know what you should do with that, Alex? You know what you should do with that? You should draw a little mask on him.
Yeah.
Like a COVID mask.
Yeah, draw a mask on.
I'll just send it to him.
We also
With
find
banana.
out that Big Cass dating
I don't care.
dating what's her name from
I mean,
AEW?
I don't nothing against Big Cass. That's not wrestling news.
Yeah, but dating a girl on AEW, so maybe that could open a door.
Who is it?
Yeah, she's
DDP's daughter.
Yeah, she's part of the broadcast team.
Is she?
Yeah.
She's done like backstage.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Wait, who?
I thought you meant like a wrestler.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was
no,
like, wait a minute, what?
He's dating what's her
Chick
name?
from GoPro?
Yeah, dating
Lexi?
DDP's
DDP's daughter. Her name's
Lexi Nair.
Oh.
Yeah.
I guess that makes a lot of sense. He was down there, so
Didn't he just get like he made a debut and
Impact.
Yeah.
He's W. Morrissey.
Yeah.
Not a great name.
Yeah, I was going to say, terrible name.
Like you said it before on one of our shows. Just because it's your real name doesn't mean you should use it in the ring.
Yeah, like I often say, there's gross catering. That's not a good name.
SmackDown tonight went with the circles.
The ovals, okay.
The ovals,
they're
yeah.
nice. I said that playset.
Yeah.
But yeah, W. Morrissey, not a good name. Just Big Cash. There you go.
No compete clause for Daniel Bryan as well. So
yeah, I said that.
Maybe AEW's first live show, he shows up.
If you do a thing where Kenny beats Orange Cassidy, whoever, and then Tony Khan buys the right,
Yeah, he buys the
final
rights.
countdown.
Hey,
that would be some business.
if you're gonna spend money to get anybody, come on.
Yeah. Jordan Grace just signed a new multi-year deal with Impact.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a little surprising.
There's nobody short of like The Rock, CM Punk, Steve Austin that you could get that could be Daniel Bryan level for AEW.
Yeah.
Here's a report. Take it at you will. It's been reported that a lot of female talents who have been at AEW Dark have been at WWE tryouts for the past couple of days. Reports some of these names are Tisha Price, who has been used as a jobber for WWE a couple times in the past, has been getting a lot of had got a tryout through the AEW at the pandemic. Also, Alexa Garcia, who has been in a spot in AEW regular, and is in a relationship with. She's dating Scorpio Sky. Other names are also Ava Everett of Limitless Wrestling, Natalia Markovo.
Ava Everett's August Gray or Anthony Green's girlfriend as well. So
yeah,
he's already there.
They said there's 12 other in total, but none of the names have been announced yet.
Well, yeah, a lot.
Wonder if anybody we know.
They look at a lot of people at Dark.
You said female talents. Like Willow? Did Willow get a
maybe Willow got a tryout. Let's hope Willow.
She was just on Dark last week.
Yeah. She was in the crowd during WrestleMania weekend, and then the match.
Alex Gracia has been on Dark a lot. Like,
I'm not familiar with any of the girls on Dark.
And then Botchamania got shut down, but it just literally within 7 hours ago said it is back up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why did it get shut down? Because Ivelisse reported them.
Oh really? Oh fuck her.
No, I think they were actually.
Assume.
Oh, I think they got reported by
the rumor was AEW, but a lot of those companies like that will have a third party that monitors like social media and things like that for piracy. And it seems like AEW, like Cody and some other people, were very instrumental in getting them back.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great publicity, whether it's botching or not.
Yeah, I mean they're still getting fans for your product. Like, I gotta watch that match now. I don't know, check that out now. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, it made me want to watch the fucking match where Ivelisse no sold your girl. What's her name?
Thunder Rosa.
Thunder Rosa.
Yeah.
Of all the people to know, the one that fights MMA.
Yeah, like
What if she just, because when she did it, I was just like, ooh, like she was just like this.
yeah. Oh, she was such a cunt.
Dude, could you imagine if fucking Thunder just put her in a rear
I
naked?
wish he did. I wish
Just
he just beat
fucking-
the shit out of her.
You're going to sleep for real.
It's like
I would not
it's
fuck
like
with
what-
Thunder Rosa.
when you have problems everywhere you go, it's not everywhere you go's fault.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty bad. When AEW fired what 3 people so far, and you're one of them. Good.
By the way, she didn't seem like that much of a problem on Tough Enough.
No.
But yeah.
Who knows? What's the next news topic?
Do we have anything else?
The 45-minute match.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yesterday
New
at
Japan.
the Wrestling Dontaku, Will Ospreay defending against Shingo. It was awesome. 45 minutes long.
What
I
did it
think
get
was
stars
40
wise?
Big Dave gave it 6.
6 stars.
Big
Yeah.
Dave loved it. Now it was really good. I don't know if I it was a 5 stars. Yeah. So Kevin Kelly, the commentator, said it was the greatest match he's ever commentated. He's like, we are prisoners of the moment, but I think this is the greatest match I've ever commentated.
Yeah.
It was very, very good. So if you have New Japan World, watch that match because it was great.
Yeah.
When Will Ospreay keeps the title.
Yeah.
And he's going to defend against Okada whenever that show is going to happen.
Maybe Okada takes it, and then Okada and Kenny.
No.
It's gonna happen.
No.
That New Japan title's Kenny's gonna go for it.
I not
He's not gonna win it.
Yeah. I don't think anytime soon.
Yeah.
No, that's a long ways away.
Yeah.
We
And
are-
not until Japan gets
Well, we are Pennsylvania. We'll say
COVID.
Pennsylvania is saying by the end of this month we can have 100% capacity for indoor
Yeah, I
events.
think it's the 21st or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure. It's some but
the
like
requirement is 70% of adults have to be vaccinated.
oh, okay. But like you think how much we're all vaccinated. So
Yeah.
like Pennsylvania's doing pretty good with the vaccine.
I think I'm very proud of Pennsylvania. I
Mhm.
obviously I do know a lot of people who are against it, and that's your prerogative. You know, do what you have to
If
do.
you don't want to get it, don't get it.
According to this, capacity restrictions on bars, restaurants, and indoor and outdoor gatherings will go away on May 31st.
Oh, May 31st.
Yep.
Okay.
So indoor events can start happening at 100% capacity
Mhm.
in Pennsylvania starting
1st.
in June. Yeah, in June. So that's very, very exciting for places like High Tension and places like PPW and Outbreak and all these other
Well, a
promotions.
place like PPW, it's still school, so that's
Yeah.
why they're having
Yeah.
And not that anybody asked me, but it seems like right now anybody that wants a vaccine can get one.
Yeah. So how long did that match go, by the way?
45 minutes about.
So the independent wrestling match between Wheeler Yuta and Lee Moriarty for the title last night at Beyond went 52 plus minutes.
Wow.
I have to go watch that show. Did you watch it yet?
I did. I watched it live. It was really good. Masha had a good match with what's your name from Impact. Wears like a weird warrior fairy outfit.
Yeah.
Blonde chick.
Oh,
Kimberly,
yeah,
Kimberly. Yeah. Very fun match there.
former that other company, we won't say his name.
Yeah. And she
champion.
was Abby Lath in NXT for a hot minute.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, this is the picture show. Former Chikara champion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you can say it. You could have said it
Yeah,
last
it was a joke. It was a running gag at some
It's
point. that we
kinda
wouldn't say
funny.
Chikara.
Yeah.
That's why I said Andy treated Chakra.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyone have anything else they want to talk about wrestling wise?
Yeah, I can run down that Beyond show here really quick. I'm just trying to pull it up here because there was a lot of Camp Leapfrog talent. Unfortunately, a lot of them also
There was
did
a
not win.
crazy table spot that is to be seen. It was a very small
I love
table.
the promo work for that show. Whoever did the graphic for that did really, really well. We're looking at
It
Super
was.
Nintendo. It looked like all like Super Nintendo stuff.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Because it's called Project Reality, which was the code name for the Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about that?
Real quick too, are we allowed to say who does the graphics for Leapfrog?
Absolutely. Well, I mean,
It's in the credits.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know if we use her shoot name or not, but either way, it doesn't
Oh,
matter.
I would say use the real name, but or not the
Yeah.
real name. Use the
Use the rest of
everybody's name. Everybody knows.
Yeah,
The one in the credits.
Kaya
Yes,
has
there
been
you
doing
go.
the graphics for Leapfrog, and she
Okay.
does all the heavyweight ones, and they're
Mhm.
so good. Their came out so good.
Absolutely.
She's super talented, and she's so quick. Like you're like, can we please get like 4 more graphics with this, and this? And she's like, there you go.
Wow, cool.
Well, it might be magic. We don't.
She is
Yeah, might be
100%
magic.
magic. She literally just snaps her fingers and it gets done.
Yeah,
She's
so it's like-
so fucking good. Such a cool person. I actually have a brand new shirt of hers and a sticker on the table.
Who don't you have a shirt of at this point?
There's a lot. There's a lot I wanted. So here's the deal I have with Heidi now. I'm only getting 1 shirt per paycheck now.
Okay, I think
and
that's
the
fair.
lie detector said that was a lie.
Yeah.
Hey, boss,
Maury?
can I get paid daily, please?
Pro Wrestling Tees, if you can sponsor me, please, God. I actually tried to put an application in to be on Pro Wrestling Tees.
Uh-huh.
I put an application in to be on 2 different wrestling sites, and I'm not saying I should be in for free, right? That's not what I'm saying. But there is a fee to be on both of them because we don't have a big enough social media presence.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
if you have a bigger social media presence, you get on the site for free.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it's
If
like
you-
10,000 combined on all your social media.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
and we're not even close. You know what I mean?
I couldn't even get it then.
Yeah, so you have to pay money, and I was
Well,
just like,
wrestlers get on for free, or at least they did during the pandemic.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
they did. Yeah.
so I pretty much like I wanted to be on What a Maneuver. I will
Mhm.
probably pay the fee to be on that one, but not just yet because there's like I'm sponsoring shows and everything like that, and I much rather like I don't really need our podcast to be on there. I mean, it would be cool to say I'm part of the team, but like we have a merch page.
Yeah.
Which is fine for me, but I'm more the person where I rather spend the money instead of me paying $50 to put my name on your site. I much rather spend $50 and buy other people's merchandise. That's just me. You know what I mean? Like I'm at that level now where it's like cool if we get exposure, cool. Like, I'm becoming more lax when it comes to like we have to be seen,
Yeah.
like, we have to grow. I'm just letting it happen. Like
I don't give a shit about Pro Wrestling Tees. Like if I was on there, okay, let's say I sell one shirt every 4 months.
Yeah.
Who cares?
I'm
Like,
more or
you
less
know,
going on there
who
to
cares?
buy. Like I think I'm at the point now where I'm not buying any more WWE t-shirts.
Mhm.
Like I'm done with WWE. I'll buy AEW here and there or whatever AEW ones I get from my Pro Wrestling
from
Crate.
your
I'm
crate,
happy
yeah.
with. Or legendary shirts I get from people on Pro Wrestling Crate. I'm happy with. But unless I really really like the team, I'll get their stuff. Like I
Yeah.
want to get a Varsity Blonde shirt. I got the Chris Statlander and the Best Friend shirt. And I bought some referee shirts because I got Audrey's shirt. I got Bryce's shirt.
You do have a problem.
Yeah, but that was my last thing.
I bought the Kryptonite Nightwalker shirt.
Yeah, it was a good episode.
So I bought one shirt.
It was a good episode.
Yeah, I like it.
But I think what I'm going to do is each paycheck I just buy one each paycheck. Like so, my next one I'm probably going to get is I tried to get Edith, but she didn't have an extra large.
Oh, okay.
I want to get an Edith shirt, but I have to wait for the right size, and I don't want to get a 2X. And if it's one of those shirts that fit perfectly, and then it just looks like shit in 2X. But I think Masha's Pro Wrestling Tees is gonna be the next one I get. She has like a skull one that looks really cool.
I don't like Pro Wrestling Tees because that fucking $10 shipping.
It
And then
sucks.
tax, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's like this day and age, like why? Why? It doesn't cost so much. I know how much it costs to ship a shirt in the US, and it's $4.98.
Yeah.
It's not $10, especially when you're a company that's shipping out tons of shirts. Then you get the deal,
Right, because the courier is coming to you.
Yeah.
So it's not cost $10. That's all I'm saying.
The only thing I'm saying is
Run a
maybe,
little bit
maybe
better
the
sale.
shipping,
That's
maybe the
not
shipping is going
20%.
to the talent.
No.
Well, the worst is like a Teespring where they charge you per item.
Yeah.
I think Pro Wrestling Tees does that too. Do they not?
No.
I
No.
don't think so.
I think it might be like a
Yeah.
flat thing.
Yeah, I think if you buy 2 shirts,
I do
it's
have
like
one Pro
$1.99.
Wrestling Tees complaint though. The first one I ever had.
Mm.
Every time I do an order, I get a mystery shirt.
Uh-huh.
And the last order I did not put the mystery shirt in because I feel like I got burned.
Oh, okay.
So I put the mystery shirt in. My mystery shirt comes in. It's the same exact CM Punk shirt I got in my Pro Wrestling Crate, which is sold to you as an exclusive T-shirt
Oh, really?
that you
Wow.
only get through that crate.
The only thing I can see is maybe they had some left over.
Don't care. Burn them. I pay money for that crate. That's supposed to be exclusive content.
If it's exclusive, it should be exclusive. Yes.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Because if that's the case, then I would just cancel the subscription crate and buy a T-shirt if I want this T-shirt, or
Yeah.
wait for the T-shirt to come in. So I was a little bummed that I got an exclusive shirt
But that's not
as a random chance.
Yeah, it's not exclusive.
Yeah, I gave it away. I gave it to a listener.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So that was the only thing I'm a little bummed about, and it kind of made me not want to buy the mystery shirt for the next one.
Yeah.
So when I did my order, when Heidi gave me the okay to buy the Brian Pillman shirt, I was like, "You want the mystery shirt?" I was like, "Nope, I'm good.
Yeah.
You got me
Yeah.
last time."
I mean, it's what, $7.99 or something.
It's like it's like $10, something like that. But
It's like a white shirt. It's usually the ones that don't sell well that they have a stock of. And then
actually, I gotten 2 Orange Cassidy shirts through mystery shirts.
I mean, there might not be a popular one selling one like that. It's not the one with this classic face on it.
That's one that I got.
The classic one?
I got the classic face one, and I got the one where it's him as an actual orange.
Yeah. See, that was the first time I seen when you got it, the orange one.
Actually, no, I've gotten 3 Orange Cast. No, you're right. I bought the classic one, and then the other 3 I got were all mystery shirts. I got the freshly squeezed orange shirt. I got the freshly squeezed white shirt, and I got the one with him as an orange.
It's usually like a top song shirt.
Yeah. And I got an AEW shirt, which looks like a staff shirt. It's like a gray shirt, and it just has AEW on it.
Oh, okay.
Huh.
It looks like a gym shirt.
I had a shirt like that. It was WCW Crew. It was like a
that's
white
cool.
shirt. It just said I won it on the 900 number from like the trivia game.
Nice.
And it was just a white shirt and had the WCW logo and it just said Crew under it.
We should
That's
bring trivia back for the show.
Hey, there you go.
Trivia is always fun.
Yeah. So, like I said, we are hopefully going weekly soon, and this Patreon content will start getting uploaded weekly. So, I think what we're going to do is we're going to keep shows on Fridays and Sundays for right now, and then we'll probably start this in June. So we'll go till June, and then after June, once this Patreon content airs, it will then go into the rotation of podcasts that will be uploaded. So like I said, like Patreon, it'll be Tornado Tag episode 101, Patreon 1. And then it'll be like, then it'll be a regular episode, then Patreon 2. You know what I mean? And that's how we're going to label them. If you want to see them earlier, you can subscribe to the Patreon. If you're just happy getting them the way you are, it is what it is. But the support does help us a lot. So that's the way we're going to go. Because there's a lot of content I think we did on the Patreon that I was really happy with. And it's like, and I put a message out to the Patreon asking them, the people that are part of it, like, do you guys watch this?
Yeah.
And a few of them were like, no, we don't watch it, just because I just don't have time to keep up with it. I could watch everything.
They might just be donating.
I'm just donating because I want to help.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what they said. Like, they're like, we don't even care if there's a name shout out. We're just happy to be helping the podcast, which I'm really, really thankful and grateful for. So I feel like it's at that point where we can release some of that content, because we're making it. And if we're making it, no one's really listening to it. I would like people to check it out. I think some of the stuff we talk about is fun. That being said, Alex, anything you want to plug?
Nope.
Links below. Follow all things High Tension Wrestling. And that's we got that. Andy.
Yeah.
Don't plug events here because it probably won't air for a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So nothing.
I ain't got shit.
We're like, hey, go to this show on May 24th, and like they listen to it. It's like
September. 6 months later. Yeah. Brian.
Same shit I always plug. ProjectHumanoid.com.
Go check out Project Humanoid. Go listen to Murder My Dude and Poddantic. What's he saying? Pedantic. Go listen to Pedantic. That'll do it. Interviews. Tornado Tag Podcast. We'll see you guys next time. We're out of here. Bye.